June 1947. A distress call breaks through radio static in the Strait of Malacca. All officers, including captain, are dead, possibly whole crew dead. A pause. I die. Silence. The transmission was reportedly intercepted by multiple ships navigating one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. The source was identified as a Dutch cargo vessel called the SS Ourang Medan. Two nearby ships altered course and headed toward the coordinates. When they arrived, they found a freighter drifting. No visible damage, no smoke, no distress signals raised. A boarding party stepped onto the deck. Every crew member was dead. Officers lay in the chart room. The captain was on the bridge. The radio operator remained at his equipment. Bodies were scattered through passageways and along the deck. There were no visible wounds, no signs of violence. What unsettled the rescuers were the expressions. Eyes open, faces fixed, several bodies positioned with arms extended as if bracing against something unseen. Even the ship's dog was found dead, teeth bared. Despite the tropical heat outside, some accounts describe the interior of the vessel as unusually cold. The rescuers made the decision to tow the ship to port for investigation. A line was secured. The ships began moving. Then smoke appeared below deck. The cargo hold was burning. The tow line was cut. Minutes later, a violent explosion tore through the ship. The SS Ourang Medan broke apart and sank beneath the strait. The bodies were never examined, the cargo was never catalogued, the wreckage was never recovered. And that is where certainty ends. Unlike documented cases supported by preserved records, the story of the Ourang Medan rests on maritime reports published in the late 1940s and early 1950s. Yet official shipping registries contain no clear documentation of the vessel. Some historians argue the ship never existed. Others note that post-war shipping documentation, particularly in Southeast Asia, during the late 1940s, was often incomplete. The core details remain consistent across early accounts: a distress signal, a drifting vessel, a dead crew, an explosion. But consistency is not confirmation. Several explanations have been proposed. One possibility is hazardous cargo. In the years following World War II, ships transported unstable chemicals and undeclared materials. A leak involving toxic compounds could have killed the crew quickly. Exposure to certain gases can cause rapid collapse without visible injury. If the cargo was volatile, it could also explain the fire and explosion that followed. However, no verified cargo manifest has ever surfaced. Another explanation is carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a malfunctioning boiler system. The gas is odorless and lethal. It can incapacitate without leaving marks on the body. But carbon monoxide poisoning does not typically produce dramatic physical distress. Victims often lose consciousness gradually. A third theory involves methane gas released from the seabed. Methane can displace oxygen and cause suffocation. It is also highly flammable. In theory, a concentrated methane pocket rising from the ocean floor could have enveloped the ship, incapacitated the crew, and later ignited. Yet an eruption large enough to disable an entire crew would likely have affected nearby vessels. No such disturbances were reported by ships in the area. Piracy has also been considered. The Strait of Malacca has a long history of maritime crime, but there were no reported signs of theft or combat before the explosion. The vessel was intact when first boarded. Some researchers have proposed sabotage. If the ship was transporting undeclared or illegal cargo, a deliberate detonation could have destroyed evidence before authorities examined the vessel. In the unstable political climate following World War II, covert transport of sensitive materials was not unheard of. But again, there is no documentation confirming such cargo. And then there is the explanation that survives largely in legend: something unknown. Reports of an unnatural chill inside the ship and the visible fear on the crew's faces have fueled speculation for decades. Stories of phantom ships and unexplained maritime encounters have circulated in these waters for centuries. There is no evidence supporting a supernatural cause. What gives the Ourang Medan its endurance is not what happened. It is what cannot be verified. There is no confirmed wreck site, no authenticated crew manifest, no preserved radio log, only fragmented accounts. The earliest references appear in maritime and shipping publications in the late 1940s. The details vary slightly between retellings. Some versions place the incident in 1947, others in 1948. Even the ship's name raises questions. Ourang Medan translates roughly to Man of Medan, an unusual title for a Dutch vessel. These inconsistencies have led some historians to conclude the story may have been embellished over time. Yet the narrative persists. Perhaps it was a tragic accident made mysterious by incomplete records and the destruction of evidence. Perhaps it involved cargo that governments preferred not to document during a volatile post-war period. Or perhaps the story grew with each retelling, shaped by rumour and repetition. Without physical evidence, the SS Ourang Medan exists in a narrow space between documented incident and maritime legend, a reported distress call, a drifting vessel, a crew found dead without visible injury, an explosion beneath open water, and a signal that may never be verified.